monsieur. Yes, we can hear you. Laurent, Anna is traveling. She won't be with us.
Anna is not here. She's in vacations.
Yeah, being not here is not an issue to join the WebEx or Meetigo, but being in vacation is different. So that's what I'm asking. So she won't be joining.
She will not join.
Okay, because there was this item on the architecture. So
yes, but Ivan is here next to me.
Okay.
And we can discuss. We saw the agenda.
Yes, we have the architecture discussion in the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's leave 5 minutes for others to join.
Hello.
Hello, salut à tous.
Hello, salut tout le monde.
Dominique, j'espère que tu vas bien, bonne année.
Ouais, merci, bonne année effectivement à tous ceux que j'ai pas encore croisés cette année. Happy New Year to all I haven't met yet this year. It's about the last day to say so.
Hello, I'm sorry. This is a computer doctor from China, and this is the first time to enter the meeting. And I also did some work in IPv6. I wanted to know how often the meeting every week.
Okay. This is a interim meeting that we set up every other week. So once every 2 weeks. So it was 15 days ago, and there is another one 15 days from now, or 14 days. And it's all on the LP1 page on IETF data tracker. If you need more information on all this, please just ping me on email.
Okay, thank you. I just visited the web chat 10 minutes ago, so I also very interested in this group, and I want to learn more knowledge from you.
That's nice. Okay, so all good. I mean, if you have questions for the group, just use the LP1 mailing list. And if you have questions about how to start, then use LP1-chairs or just my email. And we will answer your initial questions.
Okay, thank you. You know, it's a deep night in China. I wanted to know the next meeting is also before 0 o'clock.
We have been using the exact same time for every interim. Now we are not used to have people visiting from China, and I realized that in China it's already 11 p.m. right? It's 11 in China, is it?
No. It's already a deep night in China. So I wanted to know what time for the next meeting.
Same.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks.
We use this exact same time. If you wish it to change, then we will have to discuss it. But we have been using this exact same hour for years now.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, I did some work about Quick in IPv6. I also want to share my result to you. Could you please give me some suggestion for me and for my next step?
what would be nice is you drop an email on the LP1 mailing list asking for a slot, like 15 minutes or something, in the next interim, 2 weeks from now. So same day, I think it's around the 14th of February, we will have interim 4. And so if you just drop an email over the LP1 mailing list and ask for
Okay.
some time on the interim, we will give it to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I will write an email and send it to the email list about my result, and you will give me a plan about my my report, right?
Yes, that would be
Okay,
fantastic.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and with this, I guess we are just 5 minutes past the hour, so it's time to start our interim. Just a quick check, since Anna has been usually capturing a lot of the minutes for us. Do we have minutes takers? I mean,
Yeah, I'll be on the notes as well.
Dominique, you will help. Did you find the page? Did you see that the interim minutes is already in there? Just the format, because sometimes we have issues with the URL of the notes. So do you see them correctly? Yes, I see
Yeah,
that you
I'm on
see
it.
You're on it. Okay, that's nice. Thanks so much. I'll try to capture some minutes as well. Can I please mute? Okay, we are getting some echo. Alex, do you want to do the intro, or do you want me to do it? I can do it.
Yes. Hello, Pascal. Thank you very much. Thank you all, and hello, everyone. Very, very nice to see you here. Yeah, let's get started. So this is an official meeting of the LP1 working group, and so it's an official IETF meeting, and as such, all IETF policies apply. On various topics such as patents or code of conduct. Please do read all the different BCPs that are listed here. And as a reminder, by participating, you agree to follow the IETF processes and policies. With this, we can move on to the agenda. So this is the agenda that was published before. So we have a big point about the rechartering this today. Then we have a presentation and a discussion about the SHIC data model with Auth 48. So congrats for getting until here. Last last mile to go. And then we have a discussion about the architecture and next steps. Do you have any other item that you would like to discuss maybe during today's meeting? So no, and I mean the okay, Quentin, yes.
Yes, it's maybe just a primer on, let's say, I'd like we discuss a bit about the specification of SHIC. There may be some stuff that we can polish that would make it easier to use SHIC in scenarios where you use SHIC over something with tunneling and all that stuff. So yeah, just a heads up on what we've been working on with Mario, and we'll develop that in the main list. But yeah.
Okay, so that sounds great. So the way I understand it, it's not something urgent that we definitely need to address today.
No.
But okay, so that's good. So well, let's. I propose that if we have some time at the end, you can talk a little bit more about it. Sure. And if not, I mean, you can you can send them the mail, and we'll and don't forget to request a slot for the next time, and you'll have a proper slot about that. Yes. But that's excellent. That's excellent. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Quentin. So moving on. Yeah, so we have the state of the different drafts and that are in the different states, let's say. So we have, of course, the Chic Yang data model, and Laurent and Anna are going to talk a little bit more about that later, that entered in author 48. And we have Chic over NB-IoT that is in the RFC editor queue. I don't recall if there was something that we needed to do about the Chic over NB-IoT document. So
Not that I remember. I mean, we are waiting for the RFC editor to pick it up, and probably they will pick it very soon after the Young data model is published. And as you see, the Young data model is in auth 48, meaning that we already have a hint on the RFC number, by the way, and Laurent just saw that, so that's good news. I think it's 9363 by memory, but it looks like a neat number.
Yeah, or multiples of 3. Okay, so that will be the new mantra. 8724, 9363. We'll see. It's going to be good. So yeah, congrats about this. And I mean, of course there was. So I finally did my homework, and I'm very happy about this. And thanks also to Sergio for for making the last changes. So about the Chic Compound Act. So I published the Shepherd review. So I'm not sure what should be done next. So do we? I mean, it is sent to the ISG. We need to push a button somewhere, or I don't remember from here what was the next stage.
There is something in the data tracker where you can say submit for publication.
Okay.
I guess it's to the working group state. You click on it and get a drop-down list somewhere for doing it.
Okay, I was looking for that button and I didn't find. I mean, I don't. Either I found it and I was like, okay, I'm not sure if I. Okay, so tick. Okay, I'm going to. So I'm going to push the button, right? And it's all good. Yes, submit to ISG for publication. Submit to ISG for publication. That's the button, right?
Yes, that is, and then you need to edit the state and just set.
Okay, good, perfect. So yes, I'm going to click the button and request publication. Okay, so that's perfect, and also that thing is done. So we're advancing pretty well, and I think that's everything for the time. Yes, Laurent?
Yes, we just had a meeting with Marco Tiloca, and he made a very, very nice review of RFC 8824 about co-op. And he will publish soon an errata on some point. There is nothing dramatic, but just some clarification about the document and a realignment with co-op.
Okay. So actually, that sounds first of all really great that we have another like a review with some some new insights. And to me, it seems that it's almost in the same. So I'm not sure what Quentin and Marion want to talk about, but I get the feeling it's in the same vein, like having readability, more readability, or like finding some minor errata. So that's good. That's excellent.
You get Eric.
Yeah, just wanted to say that the Compound Act, as far as I know, has not done the working group last call yet.
Oh.
If you look into the history of the document, I don't see it. So maybe it was done over email without the data tracker. Maybe then it's okay.
I think we did it.
But there's no track into the history of it.
Oh, I mean, Eric, we need to dig, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, my memory tells me we did it.
Yes.
Okay, and then the other point is for the SHIC over Sigfox. There is still one pending comment from Roman waiting for a reference to be added. So it's very minor, but as far as I know, it's not been done yet. To be checked with Sergio, of course.
Okay.
Yes, the work group last call for Compound Act was done around 22 of October.
2021.
2021, yeah.
Yes. So.
But it was completed on January 2022.
Yeah.
And since then, we were held with, the interaction with the Sigfox document. So that's, and then there was some, but
some
the
dilemmas.
shepherding has been lasting for 1 year. I mean, yes, it's.
Yes, it's my bad here.
Okay, if you have it into the email archive, and that's okay, right? So we can go over.
Yeah, we do. I mean,
normally it's done by the data tracker.
The thread started on 22 of October, and the end of the call was November 2021. And then there were some issues, right? It was the workgroup last call, and then there were some issues on it, and then we fixed it, and blah, 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 blah. And then, to be honest, we've kept this shepherding for a long time. So it was really time for us to complete the shepherding work. But yes, we more than a year ago went through a group last call and then solved the issues.
Yes.
Anything more that you want to?
Oh no, it's.
You're still on the queue.
Oh yes, Eric.
Eric.
No.
Eric. Okay.
I will remove mine in the queue, but no.
Okay.
Nothing to add.
So let's move on. So for the young data model, Laurent will have a little slot, and I guess Alex, you mentioned pretty much everything else that's being discussed here. So we can move on to the next slide. And the next slide was on the rechartering, so maybe I can take over. We discussed it twice already. This is the third time we discussed the rechartering text in this meeting. First time was during the main IETF meeting, and then we discussed it through the interims. So 1 and 2. So sure, it's the fourth time. Yeah. Well, the first interim was not really about the text, but since we have we discussed about rechartering at the IETF-115, and then through the interims we've been discussing the text already. And so there we go. The background text is kind of stabilized. I don't see Carsten anymore today, but we're with Carsten's help, we have very much stabilized the background text. We feel it's useful for the ASG to understand what comes next. We understand what Eric told us, that this will not end up in the charter, but I think it's useful context for the ASG to read the charter. So there are 3 slides for the charter. This one has changed a little bit since last time because we discussed about the scope of the group. And so the text after the discussion of last time, mostly the first sentence, looks now like what you're seeing. So the scope of the groups to enable benefits of SHIC to low power wide area networks and non-LPWA networks. And so we include zero energy scavenging devices, we include DTN. And also we list a number of foods for which we could do SHIC over food. I can let you read, but the other paragraphs are pretty much the same as we had last week. Laurent, yes?
Yes, just to to talk about SHIC header type. Do you think it's an action that has to be in the charter? Because I think it will be solved soon, and it's not LP1 working group business.
Well, we've discussed that with Bob and with the IEEE coordination, and it appears that to request a new ether type from the IETF standpoint, we need to add it in some RFC. So the goal would be to have effectively an RFC that discusses the need for this SHIC header type. And by the way, this is probably not a LP1 document, probably an interior workgroup document. But it will mention the need for an ether type, and then once this goes in the final stage of RFC, like IESG review, we can effectively go and talk to IEEE and their own INR and get back with an ether type. And when we publish the RFC, the ether type value is in it. That's
Can we maybe to have something more generic that will say that the working group will make liaison, or I don't know, with other groups to allow the transportation of SHIC on other technologies? Or
okay, we need to write that down because that's a great command. Do you? Yeah, we could generalize it. So make the second sentence of the second paragraph a bit more generic, and give this as an example. I still wish to list it because it's very, very important for us that it happens. And when we go talk to Interia, we can tell them, hey, that's really something that we are chartered to work with you on. If we don't list it at all, if we keep it very generic, I'm afraid that Interia will say, what are you talking about? But here we will push to the ASG that we really want that ether type. And so I'd like to keep it listed, but agree that we need to make that sentence more generic. Quentin?
With this new charter, is it still possible to amend the SHIC specification or not?
Yes. I mean, maintenance is always part of the charter, but it's the next slide. But yes, I mean, be patient, please bear with us, but you will see that maintenance is always part of the charter. Part of the reasons why you re-charter is to ensure that you do the maintenance of the previous charter. That's for sure.
Okay, thanks.
So for this one, I keep that. I mean, I keep that we need to make the second sentence general. But I mean, if you look at the first sentence, I was rereading it, Laurent. That's what it's saying, right? I mean, we could, instead of saying for this in the second sentence, we could say as an example. But the first sentence is very generic on what you're saying, no? Do you think it?
Remote endpoints is not clear, but I think it's too technical. I will say that it's more to allow SHIC to be used in different technologies or something like this.
So the remote endpoint discussion was, we know we have this concept of a SHIC session. I mean, so there is the local endpoint and the remote endpoint. There is, the device and the application. And so that's what the remote endpoint comes from. Now, I'm happy to change that sentence, but that's just saying where it comes from. So if you go over any L2, L3 network, then it's between two endpoints which are remote from the perspective of those two L2 and L3 endpoint, as opposed to being facing like we are used to.
Yeah.
With LoRa, right? That's what the remote means. I mean, you have to do multi-hop over L2 or over L3.
Yeah, but I think it's too technical in this sentence. Because, for example, if we want to do a SHIC over HTTP, It's not in the charter here because we say that it's L2 and L3, except if. So.
Okay. So instead of L2 and L3, you would say larger L2 and L3. You could replace that with multi-hop. So remove larger L2 and L3 and say multi-hop. Yeah, that's what you. Does it help?
Yes.
Because that was the intention. Okay, so replacing. So really, the intent here is SHIC has been one hop so far, right? It was, for instance, LoRa or Sigfox. And now we want to do over multi-hop, meaning that there can be many things happening between those two endpoints on this multi-hop network. So we need to signal the session.
I agree totally for multi-hop, but here it looks more for me to get identifier to carry SHIC on something different than LP1's network, and so here it's more the quest for identifier.
It is effectively. The SHIC ether type is an identifier.
Yeah, but it's, and you have another problem is the multi-hop, because we say that it's up and down, and we don't have up and down in mesh networks and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so,
true. But I mean, do you want to change the charter to be more specific about that, or is it, the goal at the end of the day is we need to signal the session, we need to signal who's playing application, who's playing device. I mean, we know all this, but basically the prime comes because we have new networks which are multi-hop and can be peer-to-peer as opposed to hierarchical, and so at the end of the day, we need more data plane signaling for the SHIC session, right? And that's what we say.
Okay,
so
we can propose
replace.
something.
Yeah, I will need to give you what I have now, but basically the changes I made so far, we say multi-hop network as opposed to larger L2, L3. And instead of for this, we say for instance. Now for this, the interior work group was working on SHIC ether type. For instance, the interior work group is working on SHIC ether type. So as you point out, this is one example. Now, if you want more, but I will need to publish what we have. It's in GitHub somewhere, but basically I will need to publish it. So you can look at it. Actually, it's not in GitHub. It's in. I'm looking at it. It's in the Dropbox that we have for the LP1 working group. So yeah, if you want to edit it further, I mean, just talk to Alex because it's our Dropbox.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I need to move on. So let me just save what I have. So I'm saving on the Dropbox what I just said and moving on. So the point, Quentin, that you made about SHIC maintenance, it's the first item. It's no surprise in this charter. So the work that you seem to be willing to conduct would fit, I guess, in item 1. Quentin, yeah?
There's an additional item, which is what are the necessary amendments to do to SHIC to allow for SHIC operation, for example, in a multi-hop network, for example.
Okay. Multi-hop is not from the previous charter. You're always one step ahead from us here. So the way the slides are cut, there was the generic, what we need to do. Then there is this slide 2, which is what we continue on the previous charter. And then there is slide 3, and what comes new for the new charter. And everything multi-hop is new. So it's the next slide. Sorry,
Okay.
Quentin, you're always one slide ahead.
Yeah, no, it's my fault. Thanks.
I didn't say so, But this one is about maintenance of existing mechanism, and as you can see, that's item 1. So we do maintain our existing mechanisms. We also add in the previous charter that we would be doing some OAM, and so yeah, there we go. Now, to your point, here are the items that we foresee for the new charter, and that's where something, Quentin, might be missing that you would like to edit. And foo, multi-hop is typically a foo, right? SCHC over multi-hop. So please look at 3 and 4 and see if you still need something.
Yes, Quentin?
Go ahead.
And just to be sure, this also cover adaptation of SCHC to allow for tuning and protocol in protocol and etc. So say you want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Please rework.
Because yes, there's one thing. The question on how to do, for example, a rule for IPv6 in IPv6. Well, that's something that we'll have to discuss later. That's technical stuff, but yeah.
You mean tunneling? So
For
SCHC
example.
tunnels. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
clearly, yes, in my mind, it's completely sure. So basically, SCHC over foo. So if you have IP over IP, I mean, we've done that already somehow but we did not compress both layers. But yes, I mean, certainly. In my mind, it's very clear that it is. If you can do SCHC over PPP, yeah, it doesn't even mean, because PPP is itself over IP, or if you do PPPoE or PPPoIP, yeah. It's not written explicitly.
Yeah.
But we could say, you know, tunnels next to TCP if you like, just to make sure.
Yes. Yes, I agree on this one, because I agree with you, Pascal, that it's clear also in my mind that that's something that could be covered, but at least this way we'll explicit it here for the ISG, and
Yeah. So I added IP tunnels in the list.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
To compress both layers, because when you do SCHC over IP, if it's SCHC over IP, I mean the inner SCHC doesn't need to see it, but it could if we wanted to compress the tunnel itself.
Yeah. I mean, perfectly agree here. I mean, to me, it seems pretty clear and complete. So once we have the latest version, what do we do? We will discuss it on February 14th, or maybe Pascal, you can send it to the mailing list, and then.
Yeah, I would be happy to send it to the mailing list and start getting feedback outside of this interim. And see if the mailing list is happy, and then Eric, you will have to tell us what to do with this, I guess.
And the what to do as soon as the working group is ready with a charter, you send the text to me, I put it into the data tracker, and it starts internal consultation within the ISG and IAB for about 2 weeks, between two telechat, basically. Then it goes for kind of a last call, right? So basically to the community to get any feedback. But basically, again, it's pretty much as soon as you ask me to do it, I will be in the driving seat, of course, relying on the working group and yourself, the chairs, for any change, obviously.
Okay, so the next step, I guess, is that we push the draft that we have now to the mailing list. So I will do that after this meeting. and start asking for comments, I guess. And we'll see how it goes and assess consensus, Eric. And when we're happy with the consensus, we'll ping you on this.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, and in the chart, in the agenda, there was some minutes for discussion with Laurent on the, where is it?
So young data model.
Yes, because we are in Note 48, Laurent. And there was a discussion last time that you wanted to make some changes. And then Eric said, yes, you can make them, but you need to wait for Oath 48. And guess what? We are in Oath 48 now. So could you be more specific on what changes you want to make, or do you want to discuss that on the mailing list?
I already sent a mail last week, I think, about the changes. It's what I presented last time. It's
Okay.
just so it doesn't change the model or what you produce. It's just the way you range a model for validations. So the thing was about a union that was made at the type def, and I would like to move this union into the structure by itself, because it's some validation tools doesn't see it when it's in the type def. So that's the main change. And the other change I wanted to propose is to add something to distinguish co-op options from co-op overheaders. So it's not, it doesn't change anything to what we process, but it's clearer. So we got the notification for Off 48 this morning. And so we have now a nice RFC number is 96, 63, no, 89. I don't remember. But, and this, so I will, there is some details to change or proposed changes by the FC editor, but it's not that difficult to answer to these questions. I wait Anna to come back to do this. And so next week we will have a new version, and we will discuss also with the RFC editor to modify the young data model, either because we have to put inside some references to RFCs, and the other if we do this change. And that's why I ask the question on the mailing list if you agree or not to these changes. But you will see on GitHub is very few lines.
Okay, so
And-
two things, Laurent. The number is 9363. So like Eric said, it's a multiple of 3. It's a nice number. And Eric, sorry, I was interrupting. So please go ahead and I'll continue.
No. Finish what you wanted to say, Pascal.
Well, I wanted to basically poll at least the people in this call to see if everybody agrees that what Laurent is saying makes sense. I do agree, but wanted to make sure there is nothing I'm missing, at least that people in this call can see. And the email is still pending on the mailing list as well. So I guess when Anna comes back, if there is no opposition, please do those changes and go ahead with the Oath 48.
Okay.
And what I wanted to say is that if you look, we can change the data, the young module for the small change. Don't change the semantics, so it is fine. But you may you change the revision number as well, right? Because it's not the same one. Okay, that's all.
Okay, it's what I did in. So in the GitHub, you have a new version with this change that has a new revision number.
Perfect. Thank you.
Another point I would like to ask to the group is that now we are about to have the young data model. So I think it's now time to request seeds for this young data model. And the other point is that we don't, I think we don't have to use the default seed numbering, because we raised already that that issue is that, for example, rule ID length and rule ID value are far away in the data model, which means that it's not very efficient to cut them in using CBOR. So we will have to reorder the seed to make something more efficient and to save some bytes. So how we proceed with that? So do we write a draft to explain that, or do we just issue a seed file with the correct order and that's all?
So Laurent, the seed, it's the core seed draft is in the final stages before submitting to the ISG. So the seed registry at IANA doesn't exist yet, so you cannot really request seed from IANA. So at this point, what I could suggest is that you pick some seeds, and you start treating them in a provisional way. And then the moment that the seed draft becomes an RFC and that the seed registry becomes created, to ask IANA to allocate these seeds.
Okay.
Now, the only thing, Alexandre, is that as far as I know, IANA is not planning to handle seed. I can be wrong.
So actually, there are two types of yes. So Eric, yes, you're right to some extent. So there are two seed registries, two levels. So the big blocks, it's not IANA that is going to. So it's like on a very high level, and then for some RFCs that request seed allocation, there is going to be a registry about that. And actually, if I recall correctly, I need to double check the document. It's just a column that's added to an existing Yang registry.
Perfect. Thank you. I stand corrected.
Yes. No. I mean, it's. I understand that it's not as straightforward as it's not. How can I say? It's not a simple answer to this one, right? But in any case, Laurent, you have no place to request the seed allocation today. So,
okay.
And that will come, right? That will come, and we're waiting for the RFC for some time now, and we had some last discussion. So there are some comments from the ISG, and I think that they are handled now, or I mean, Karsten is working on that. So we're really in the final stages of this of this RFC of this draft.
Perfect.
And with this we can move to the next item, which is the next steps for the architecture document. And you know that this is a document that is very dear to us. And Ivan and I guess Laurent, you are behind, have been working on some suggestion, and the thread has started. Anna has started responding to this. So what I did is I kind of collected the comments by Ivan, and Ivan, since you're with us, maybe you can argue or explain what you had in mind with those comments. So there are two slides. Basically, you made 7 points, or you made points on 7 sections. And so if you could please speak your mind and explain what you want to do. And yes, I mean, you've got the ball. So please speak. Go ahead, Ivan. Go ahead, Ivan. We are not hearing you. I'm still not hearing Ivan. Am I the only one?
Can't hear him.
I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing him. Sorry.
So I think it's better now.
Yes.
So the idea was what I did was with Laurent we read a bit carefully again this draft, and we think we should change the arrangement, or at least make more clearer how the sections are organized, and then to add some content to each one of the sections, because the main point is that we now are going from one hop topology to a star topology. So the document starts right with this topology.
Already a star, but multi-hop.
Yeah. So so that's the main argument. Anna told us that maybe we can start just saying what are the main use cases, and then from that we can build a general topology. But it's kind of tricky, because what will be this architecture in this point? Maybe a multi-hop topology is the general one, and then a one hop or an star topology is a subset of that one. So that's the idea. So the idea is just to review the document and then to rearrange the sections. Yeah. I don't know what your inputs about that, Pascal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the way you just said it is a bit vague, but your text was more specific, so that's good. Yes, we are clearly going to something which covers multi-hop as well as single hop. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, as soon as you define a SHIC session, your whether it's multi-hop or single hop below, doesn't matter. You still have two nodes talking to one another over a pipe, whether it's one MAC address to one MAC address over a single hop, or whether it's over a tunnel, point-to-point tunnel. At the end of the day, you have two devices and one session between them.
Yeah. We agree with that. So the main idea was that if we want to like creating a graph or graphically an architecture, maybe we can start with a multi-hop and then say that one hop is just a subset of that multi-hop.
It's a collapsed version where, like LoRa, for instance, just to give the most used example, some of those parameters that we have are kind of collapsed, right? Because you're one hop and the session is not signaled, but implicitly it's there, and we have takes for that. But it's not that we're not covering it. It's more like you want a different organization, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's what we thought is that it was better to start with what we know right now about the star topology and say that this can be extended to other kind of topologies, and then say, but you see, it's the same. It's in the architectural view, it's the same, and then we enter into the definition of this architecture, all the elements, and that's all. But it doesn't change. The content is more the organization to allow.
Yeah, I'm comparing what you have on that slide and what we have on the original document. The document has some introduction, like something on LPWAN technologies and profiles, something on SHIC. So it basically says what the SHIC and the SHIC profiles are before it really goes into architecture. The real architecture starts in section 5, where we talk about endpoints and instances. And yes, we could talk about networks as well. But I mean, I think session, because you really start in your explanation, in your example, with section 2. It's close to what we have. With section 2, we have right now explains. Well, section 2 we have right now is about LPWAN technology. You don't have it in your proposal, but section 3 is pretty much what you propose as section 2.
Yeah. The idea was also to merge the section and then what we have now in section 2 to be more generic, and then we can start explaining some use cases. And the first one will be LP1.
I'm trying to understand, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to understand, but I'm trying to say, okay, we've got some content that is already in the document, which is not clearly positioned in your proposal. And I'm trying to say, okay, if I if I wanted to go towards what you're proposing, what do I do with, for instance, the current section 2, which is LP1 technologies and profiles? 3, the broad thing about LP1. And I don't even see it in your new proposal anymore. I don't know what to do with it. But it's very small, right? It's mostly something which says, hey, here is what LP1 has been producing, and then 376, 8724, etc. Just some. So you could tell me, hey, your section 2 can go in intro. Okay, I'm good. Say section 2 goes in introduction. So our current section 3 about SHIC pretty much becomes your section 2.
Yeah.
And they're kind of aligned because they're about 8724. But you want to regroup SHIC applicability in section 2, right? So SHIC applicability. Oh no, you want to take the current section 2, which is LP1 profiles. It doesn't really matter. I mean, whether we collapse 2 and 3 into a 2. What's more interesting is you want your section 2 to focus on star topology, right? You want the current support. So current support is star. We've got the network gateway, and we've got the devices talking to the gateway. It's a bit weirder than star because one device can speak and multiple gateways can pick it. But it's kind of
yes. For example, we have 5.1 that takes the LP1 architecture, and maybe it's too far away. Maybe it's better to put it at the beginning and say, okay, this allows that, but we have some limitation, and then we
start with the multi-path.
we open it to other example, and then we go to the architecture. Which is figure
5.1. It looks like 5.1 is written really for the star, where it should be more generic. So we should pick something from 5.1, move it to section 2, basically, and then make 5 already single and multi-hop. Okay. I see. Now 4 is really very small. It's about SHIC applicability. So the current 4, I mean. So basically when you say you would like to regroup 2 and 3, you would also like to regroup 4, I guess. I mean, what is SHIC used for? That's the current section 4, SHIC applicability, and that's where we say compressing serial stream, GOOS, DLMS, existing LP1s. It applies to more than just existing LP1s, but clearly it applies to existing LP1s. So SHIC applicability is section 4. Now I don't mind that we keep it 3 sections or we collapse that into 1 session. Section. I doesn't really matter. Yeah, we could make it a single section if you want to. So it would be not just 2 and 3, but basically 2, 3, and 4 that you would like to collapse. And even the beginning of 5, when it has to do with star networks, I guess. I'm trying to understand, right?
Yes, I agree with what you're saying, Pascal. It's at least to me, it seems that it goes into the direction of what Ivan and Laurent are saying. And it just,
I'm still trying to understand it, right? And because it's a proposal on the table, I could not make much sense. I wanted to talk today because I could not really I wanted to make sure I understand what's being proposed. But it seems to me that you won't have to have a section 2, which is current, a section 3, which has some things from section 4, but like GOOS, the LMS, and the generic architecture.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting because in like it's the way presented. Do you go with what's existing and then to a more generic, with the risk of people like maybe confounding the two, Or do you go with the more generic and then say, okay, well, how does that apply to? How does maybe like have a section? Well, this is the most generic architecture. It's like this, boom, and then section 2 is okay. How is this relevant to LP1 star topology and I mean everything that is said here, and then section 3 is how does it apply to like mesh or other.
Yeah, because basically the section 5.1 that Laurent was complaining about is there to do, here is the current, but it's not limited to that. And we effectively generalize it to a session over multi-hop. And so that's basically the section 5.1 was there to move from what we have today, where the session is completely implicit, to the fact that when you're going multi-hop, then the session has to be explicit, but it's still the same thing. That's what we try to do with 5.1. Yes. I'm not too happy to have, I mean, the point that you made, Alex, having one star architecture and then one generic architecture. I want a single architecture which does star and generic.
Okay.
And basically, we wanted to show that star, as Laura, is just a generic one where you collapse a number of things and the session is not signaled, but it's still implicitly there.
I agree here with you, Pascal. Yes, that to have a single architecture and it's like this is reference, and then as you say, like star, it's special case.
Okay, so now we see section. The proposal says describe the architecture in 2 ways. So instance is 5.2 right now.
Yeah.
And then the rules. We have cryptography, we've got data models. We don't have rules, agreed. So rules management is missing, but we wanted to put it in, so that's clear. So your section 5, we need it, I completely agree. We started basically that in section 7. Section 7 is about deployment. So it could be deployment and management, and section 7.2 has rules publication. So we have some space for that. Basically we have the elements. It's just a matter of structure, but at least we are not missing elements. I agree, we need to develop what you have here written here about section 5. It should be the rule management, etc. It should be in section 7 today.
Yeah, what is now section 7 that will be, it depends on how we start the document, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm looking at the today's document, not your proposal. And yes, we can collapse 1, 2, 3, well, 2, 3, 4 into 1, and then the numbers align better. So after that, security is fine.
And then 6, provisioning, but also onboarding, like when guys
7
arrive.
is life cycle. So 7 is life cycle. So onboarding should be in there. Rules management is part of the life cycle. So if you look at 7 right now today, it has the device development because we expect some things to happen. We've got the rules publication. We've got the device deployment. We've got at some point we should have the rule management. Yes, we have the rule publication, which is 7.2. Then yes, so that's where, you know, your point about how the rules are managed, and you say current section 6, but 3.7. That's also maybe I'm looking at, or you are not looking at the most recent version of it.
So Pascal, I see the time running. I think it's a really really fruitful discussion. So how should we move on? Do we? I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, the one thing is whether we want a big architecture and then explain how it works over single hop, or whether we want what is written there, which is two architectures, like section 2 is one architecture, the current, and section 3 is the future, why it does multi-hop. And to be honest, I'm not keen on having two architectures. I'd rather explain that the session is collapsed when you're in star topology. So explain that we do have star topologies today, and that's basically makes it less necessary to expose what the session is in the packets, but really implicitly it's there. And then work on the chic session at the architecture level.
So I'll second the part about having the true generic architecture in the first place, and then develop like how our things are working in specific LP1 star topologies. Because you can have also star topologies in which you have sessions, right?
Or you could signal the session. It's just that in LoRa, for instance, there is one session per device. So the session ID is really the MAC address of the device because there's only one session. That's pretty much it. And then it goes all the way to the network server. And so the peers are on network server, the device. And so the session is perfectly identified by this.
Okay, so I mean, I think that's really the important question here, and like how do we structure that? So we are past the hour, so maybe Laurent, Ivan, maybe you can, I don't know, we can get that to the mailing list, or you can just like think about how would that fit with your proposal of reorganizing the sections. I don't think that's like a big issue there. And
I'm just not convinced right now, to be honest, but it's just what was said. So yes, we are missing some stuff about the rules, etc., that go in section 7 today. But reorganizing right now, I'm not convinced, to be honest.
In any case, yes, as you said, we need some content on the some text on the like the things that are written here on the next page, I think. So maybe you can we can start working on that, and then have in mind as like, okay, how eventually would things be reorganized once we have some part of the text, right? Okay, let's maybe get back to this question on the next interim or the mailing list, because it's it's a super interesting discussion, but it's like a big chunk of a work, and we're not going to be able to get into anything meaningful, I think. Yes, Eric, thank you very much for being here. So yeah, thank you as well. So let's stop here, and we'll continue on the mailing list and to the next interim.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And thank you for the note-taking.
You are welcome, my dear.
My dear. Okay. Bye.
Ciao.